Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Make sure to leave a like on this video down below and subscribe. My name is Alvin. I lead right on most issues, and I'll be representing the Republican side.
My name is Luke. I lean left on most issues, and I'll be representing the Democratic side. Hey guys. Um, so in this video, we are now in the aftermath of the 2025 state elections. There's a kind of a wave of elections all across the country, a small wave of elections, with the principal focus being New Jersey and Virginia. And what we saw, I believe, is the startings of a new blue wave here. So we're gonna go over those results and look at how our predictions did.
Yeah, for sure. So this is gonna be your victory lap. I got one a year ago. This one's gonna be definitely a more minor victory lap, but Democrats definitely did very good last night. Looking across the board, you can already see that all of our predictions were biased towards the Republicans. Generally, we thought that the Democrats overperformed our expectations, but we will be going race by race, taking a look at what happened, and I guess we'll start with Virginia this time. So yeah.
Yeah, so in Virginia, it was kind of along the lines that we expected. Abigail Spanberger kind of wiping the floor with Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears. Spanberger is like a former, more moderate representative in the U.S. House. She's from the Nova suburbs, like just maybe like on the border of the Nova suburbs. She used to represent a district there. Yeah, she did incredibly well. My prediction was slightly closer. I had her with a double-digit win. I was fairly confident she'd get a double-digit win, and here she is. She basically got a victory by almost 15 points in the state. I think she's resting around 14.6 right now. Yeah, just a massive victory. Definitely outperformed Biden's 2020 margins in the state. And definitely like rivaling some of the past performances like Virginian senators have put up in the past. So yeah, definitely a massive win for Spanberger.
Yeah, that's for sure. I guess we'll also move on to the Attorney General's race. This one was the one where I thought Republicans could win. Obviously, wrong on this. Honestly, a disgusting win here by Jay Jones for the Attorney General. Obviously, we all know about his scandal, hypothetically trying to murder Republican lawmakers, fantasizing about doing that in his text. And he was not punished as I thought he would be. It turns out that there was a sizable amount of ticket splitting here, but Spanberg at the top of the ticket doing so well. Definitely her coattails led Jay Jones over the top. Very disappointed in Virginia here, not punishing Jay Jones for such a scandal, but especially against an incumbent, successful Republican Attorney General here. But regardless, Jay Jones here is going to be winning this one as well, which
Yeah,
would be
what's
really tough to
remarkable about
see.
his win in particular is he's about matching Harris's margin in the state, and lots of his gains are in the suburbs of all places, which I find really interesting because those are the most educated parts of the state, the wealthiest and most educated parts of the states. Those are the people who were sort of turning out and flipping for Jay Jones there. So I definitely find that uh, interesting in that regard, I suppose. I guess it was not enough of a scandal to turn off, uh, for enough ticket splitting for him to lose here. But there was a pretty substantial ticket split, like 8 to 9 points. Like I think we kind of figured it'd be somewhere around there, or at least I did. I just did not really expect Spanberger to get up to
Yeah, I thought
15, and she
so.
kind of just pulled him up. And then Lieutenant Governor was I believe, our closest prediction. Like that one's a little like the Lieutenant Governor race. Um, that one was one of the less remarkable races, I suppose. But Hashmi got a nice little double-digit win there, um, which we did not expect, but it's the closest we like. But we did expect her to win pretty easily, I suppose. So that I think that was our closest sort of prediction on the margins. I think how much were we off there? Like one, our average was like 1 point off. Not too shabby. Um, but
Yeah, that
yeah, wait,
makes sense.
do we have the data in there, right? Sorry. For that race, I'm not sure if wait, or was I looking at it wrong? Oh yeah, I think maybe we do. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we do. Do we not? Okay. Yeah, no, I think we do. No?
Because I was just like saying on New York Times, I think it might be like I think she won by like 10 or so.
Wait, wait, wait,
Maybe that doesn't that is a line, or am I confused? Uh,
wait, no, no, you're actually right. Wait,
yeah,
it's like
she has a
10.7, right?
10.7. So
Okay.
actually, we're more wrong on that than we have down there. Okay, little hiccup.
Oops.
Um, but we could continue going. So that's basically Virginia. We could look at that the House of Delegates too, because I think that's pretty substantial. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, Democrats essentially saw flips all across the state, particularly in like the suburban regions of the state. Yeah, 13 flips for the Democrats across Virginia. I believe most of the seats they flipped were Harris won seats, but they did flip five Trump won seats in the state. And you know, definitely like pushing up their margins in the state with like 64 seats. I think they're just short. I think they're maybe what like they're a handful of seats short of a supermajority. I think maybe 3 to 4 seats short of a supermajority in the House of Delegates in Virginia. So massive gains there for Democrats. Um, yeah, good, definitely good signs there. So with that, do you want to move to the next state, New Jersey?
yeah, New Jersey, massive win here as well for Mikey Sherrill, the Democrat. Jack Ciattarelli was seen as an above average candidate coming into 2025, having gotten the 2021 race within 3 points. But the coalitions have absolutely shifted in New Jersey. Democrats are winning all of these white suburban voters, which is turning maybe turning a corner for them in New Jersey. In 2024, it seemed a little concerning for Democrats with that massive shift in minority voters. People were thinking, look, New Jersey might be tough for Democrats going to the governor's races, which are usually closer than the presidential races, but this is definitely an exception where Cheryl's going to win by 13 points or so, while Harris was only able to win by less than six. Democrats definitely hope that this will be turning the tide because they don't want New Jersey to be a swing state. This sort of maybe affects that, is a sign for that. Now, I will say in general, just looking across the board at all of these races, that like Republicans definitely have an issue going into the midterms. It seems as if a lot of their voters have become lower propensity voters. A lot of them are only willing to turn out when Trump's on the ballot. You look at 2016, 2020, 2024. The coalitions have slowly been changing, but it is turning into a fact where Trump needs to be on the ballot for Republicans to have success. And outside of that, they are underperforming expectations year after year. Democrats underperform when Trump is on the ballot, but outside of that, they seem to be doing very well across the board. And yeah, I think that's going to definitely be a big problem going into 2026. Not to get too ahead of ourselves, but I'm sure you want to talk about New Jersey. So, yeah.
Yeah, New Jersey, the shifts that coming out of New Jersey were pretty wild. I definitely like the main thing here, like as I was looking, like as we were kind of analyzing this election, what Jack had to do was he had to win independence, and also he needed essentially to revive a part of that more diverse 2024 Trump coalition. Like the voters of color that Trump flipped in 2024, he needed to keep those. He actually managed to fail at both the suburbs in New Jersey. Like he collapsed in South Jersey and in North Jersey too. Cheryl held up strong, winning Morris County. Like so the suburbs just kind of fell apart. And that's sort of also reflected in the fact that a lot of like ancestrally Republican districts in the House of Delegates, a couple of those, if you want to switch to the House Delegates map real quick in Jersey,
Yeah.
yeah, like they started flipping too. Like a lot of like there's three districts that flipped so far. Two more that are still kind of undecided here that we're still following. But a lot of all of those districts with those light blue markers or those gray markers are districts that are are blue in like good years, like when I think Biden won all of those districts, but they like routinely vote for Republicans down ballot. And Ciattarelli just kind of Ciattarelli collapsed in those districts, and that's having effects down ballot. Now, when you go to voters of color, if you want to go back to the actual map of the election results, Cheryl saw the biggest shifts in those counties with lots more diverse in those more diverse counties. So the counties of black voters and Hispanic voters, Asian voters, Middlesex County, Hudson County, Passaic, even Essex to some extent, just shot to the left. Um, Essentially, like in terms of percentage of the vote, like I think Hudson in particular shifted 20 points left. So those voters were coming out for Cheryl in droves, and I was doing some digging in the data also. A lot of those more Hispanic cities and municipalities that voted more for Trump in 2024, I found that Cheryl actually got more raw vote in some of those cities than Harris did. So that's an indication to me that she actually was somewhat successful at flipping Hispanic voters back to the Democratic Party. And you take that all together, and you boom, you get a double-digit win yet again in New Jersey. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah, down the stretch, her fundraising was very good. Her ad spending was very good. I think that clutched it for her. Um, but regardless, definitely great night for Democrats in Virginia and New Jersey. Moving on to the New York City mayoral election, Zohran Mamdani manages to very likely have a majority of voters, so can't really even blame Sliwa for staying in at this point. But, Mamdani, obviously, we all know the story by now, challenging Cuomo in the Democrat primary from his left and, upsetting Cuomo in the primary, now is able to hold on in the general election with a lot more independents and Republicans voting, still able to hold on. Like I said in the video that we released, you know, a day or two ago, one of the most successful online campaigns that I've ever seen. One of the most charismatic politicians that we've seen in the past decade, probably. And this guy honestly has a big future. Even just past being mayor of New York City for the next 4 years, I think he has a very bright political future, despite me disagreeing with him on virtually every issue. I think he's going to be a very strong asset for the Democrat socialist wing for the next few decades. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, I mean, undoubtedly, I thought going in a very good result for Momdani would be him getting above 50%. It looks like he will just do that. So there you go. I think one thing about our prediction is we definitely overestimated Sliwa.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Sliwa
by
sucked.
a lot. So like I think our Momdani prediction is actually decently accurate. It's just like we mixed up. We overestimated the vote that Sliwa would get compared to Andrew Cuomo. And looking at exit polls and stuff, Republicans like overwhelmingly went for Cuomo. Like 70 to 80% of Republicans who voted in this race voted for Cuomo and not Sliwa. So yeah, that was like I think our main sort of failure here, but we were pretty accurate on the Momdani margin, only 3 points off um on average between us. And yeah, I mean, I definitely think Momdani is like I mean, such a talented speaker, and he's definitely brings hope to the Democratic Party. He brings enthusiasm to the Democratic Party, and he might even be the future of the Democratic Party to some extent. And yeah, it definitely seems like the era of Andrew Cuomo in New York is kind of closed here. I mean, like you think his hype. I'm thinking back to 2020, walking around New Jersey, seeing Cuomo for president signs, and to go from that high and just tumble all the way down to through his scandals and to ultimately losing at the race for New York City mayor. Um, is kind of I'd say a fitting conclusion for such a flawed character.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I remember you were kind of on that Cuomo train back in 2020. I remember. And now I'm sure if you were able to vote here, you would not be voting for him.
of
But
course, yeah.
oh yeah, I will say honestly very impressed with Republicans voting for Cuomo. Like they definitely learned that strategic voting exists. So honestly, big props to them. I thought a lot of them would just vote for Sliwa, but a lot of them converted. I think the Trump kind of endorsement of Cuomo in the closing hours definitely helped with Republicans generally voting on election day. Maybe we should have anticipated that would have moved it, but still, Zoran got a majority. So it's not even like should Sliwa have dropped out, etc. Zoran got the majority, so there's really no complaining from the Cuomo camp. They should have honestly just won in the primary. I don't know how you fumbled that. But yeah, regardless, we can move on now. A few more races to cover. Don't even know if we should give them more than a few minutes of time, but California passing Prop 50, which allows Democrats to now gerrymander the map, the congressional map, for five more seats. This was widely expected to pass regardless beforehand, so it wasn't really that much of a shock. It looks like it is going to pass by probably a little more than we would have thought, I would think, but yeah, that's going to happen. More minor elections. In Minnesota, looks like the incumbent Jacob Fry or Frey is going to be the sort of Zoran equivalent here in Omar Fateh. So looks like the relative moderate here is going to hold on. But
I
yeah.
actually don't know much about this race. But yeah, it does look like Jacob Frey is going to win the ranked choice voting, it seems. I didn't even know Minneapolis had ranked choice voting, but there we go.
Yeah, well, that's about it for here. Looks like there's definitely a big boost for Democrat chances to win the House after last night. They were 55-45 favorites. Now we're up to two-thirds to one-thirds favorites. So, like you said at the beginning, sort of like the blue wave might be brewing. Obviously, these off-year elections are not perfect indicators of what's to come the next year, but also a lot can happen in a year. But it's definitely a great sign for Democrats here in terms of the amount of Senate seats that Republicans will hold after 2026. Um, yeah, definitely some movement here as well. Looks like the sort of hopes for Republicans holding, 53 seats, etc., are going down. These sort of lower numbers, 49 to 51, are on the rise. So, yeah, it's, Democrats with a 30% chance here in the betting markets to take the Senate. I think that's a little lofty, but yeah, they're definitely on the rise here. So,
Yeah, and then there was a bunch of other like minor races across the country. Like Democrats won 3 seats on the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. In Georgia, they won like 2 statewide like public commission seats. They broke the Republican supermajority in Mississippi State House. So like basically just a very good night for Democrats. Basically, um, like way better than I imagined, honestly. Um, and yeah, I think that's definitely, I think in terms of like what impacts it's going to have, I think it indicates that in a year from now in 2026, the Democrats can still pose a threat despite the confusion within their party on their direction. And also, a more immediate impacts, I think it's definitely going to motivate Democrats. My initial perception is I think it will motivate Democrats to keep fighting the Trump administration, especially when it comes to a shutdown, because I think it's just going to embolden them and make them feel like they have a mandate to keep fighting for health care. But yeah, longest government shutdown in history. I think it's just gonna keep on going after this.
actually, I kind of disagree on that point. I think that now that these elections are over, Democrats are more likely to come to the table. I think they were using the shutdown a little politically to win in Virginia. That's my opinion. But in terms of immediate impacts, I think big inference is that Democrats need to focus more on affordability issues. They're kind of ceding a lot of ground on the economy in 2024 and 2022. Especially they just could not run away from Biden's inflation woes. Now with Trump in office, they are doing a lot better addressing affordability in their campaign. They're turning away from social issues by a lot. I don't think I saw really any ads on things like abortion or LGBTQ rights or things like that. Just hammering the message on affordability,
Yep.
hammering the message on taxes, things like that are probably going to be the playbook for Democrats to win elections. Even if they do distort reality a little, like the biggest ads from Mikey Sherrill on Jack Ciattarelli, they are the method to winning. So that's going to be my biggest takeaway from this night. If you are more on the progressive wing of the Democrat Party, it's pretty much a perfect night. Wrapping up New York, winning Virginia, and New Jersey, pretty much a perfect night for you. So. Yeah, that's about it though. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. With the final results here, and how our predictions fared. Virginia, we have New Jersey, we have New York City. So it's gonna do it. A great night for Democrats, and we will see you in the next video. So leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Comment down below any future video ideas as we are looking for new ideas going into the next election cycle. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and thanks for watching.
See you guys.